Hey YouTube, it's time for another scale garage build. Let's take a look at how we accomplished the progress you're seeing right now. So you have to start with a base. We started with a 1/2 inch piece of plywood, cut it down to size with a jigsaw. Now I'm just drawing in where I want the walls to be. Had an idea of what I wanted when I got started, but I did let that kind of form and change onto the board as I started building. This garage is going to be 1/24 scale. I've been recently playing around with some 1/24 scale crawlers, and I think I'm going to probably fall into that hobby pretty deep here. And there's a lot of 1/24 scale models out there that I really want to do as well. As you can see, I'm using foam board again, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use two 1/8 sheets of foam board as an inboard and an outboard side of the wall, and then I'm going to cut down these small strips. You can almost consider them like foam board studs. And you can see me laying them out there, and it's going to create just a small pocket between the two pieces of foam board, as well as add some rigidity to the actual wall itself. Here's that small pocket I was talking about, and what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to route some wiring and things like that between the walls, hide it away kind of, make it look nice and neat. Alright, so now that we have the walls constructed, I wanted to start laying in some of the details of where different things will go. So here we're going to lay out the entrance into what I would consider like the office entrance. It's going to have a door, some windows, and then some windows above that. Next we'll focus on the garage door entrance, and that'll just have two garage door entryways. And then there's a small wall that goes between those that I wanted to add an additional entrance that would go directly into the garage. So here we're laying them out, and we're going to get them cut out in a second. Next up, it's time for some paint. And I'm just going for like a concrete kind of stucco look on the front here. I also did some of the interior painting as well. Some of this probably won't make too much sense until you see the interior layout of the garage start to take form. But I figured I would get as much of this done now as I could before I glued it down to the board, and then we're going to move on here to painting the floor before we get everything glued up. Here's the finished floor, a nice light gray with a little bit of gloss to it. After this, it's time to start actually putting up some of the walls and see the garage kind of take shape. So you can see what the front of the garage here is going to look like now. And for this last part of this video, I started working on the awning that's going to go on the front. Yeah, it has a decent thickness to it, so I can route some wiring and add some lighting to it. And you'll see all that come together here. Alright, so my intention is to do a separate video that shows a lot of the wiring and how I'm going to control some of the electrical aspects of this build, but I do have to route some of the wires early on here. It's just an easier process to do it up front than later on. So here's just a quick glimpse of what that'll look like. Here I gave the awning a glossy red finish, and now it's time to actually get it mounted to the building, and that'll just have some temporary supports there just to keep it in place while the glue dries. Here's a quick test just to make sure the lighting works and the wiring is routed correctly, and I'll adjust the angle of the lights later, but for now this will do. Hope you enjoyed this quick intro to this build. I have a lot of things planned for this, so hopefully I can get some more videos up somewhat regularly as this build comes along. I think my next video is probably going to focus on doing some things on the exterior of the building, try and get that in good condition before I move on to the interior, because there's a lot I want to do there as well. So yeah, thanks for hanging out.